Hello and well met. I'm Isaac, and I'm an outcast.
And I'm Claire, and I'm 2D.
And this is
Make
That
that
Game!
game! I forgot. Where we pitch the latest
The greatest
new video game ideas.
that will never be made. Yeah. Moving quickly on through the intro music. Claire, do you have any gaming endeavors or newses?
Yeah, so I don't have any news, nothing fancy in the gamosphere that I'm aware of.
Oh.
But I did download Restless Soul by Graffiti Games, which I've talked about probably every episode the past 4 weeks. It's here, it's arrived, it's on the Switch, and I have played it, and I had a lot of fun. So I am going to save a lot more of those details for Honks and Bonks, but that's pretty much the only game I've played this week, and I like it. I do want to say... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying wow, but also I had noticed that I had a little ghosty on my desk. So for the YouTube heads here, here's a little secret content for you. My little 3D printed and painted ghost, Restless Soul themed. This is my little knickknack. So
wow, I love it. I love it. I did want to say that I think I need to start blocking out actual time in my day to play video games because I just never play video games anymore.
No, we gotta play video games. Actually, one of the central conceits of this podcast is that we sort of.
Well, and I'll play. I don't know. I guess it's just I guess video games feel like a big lift to me. They feel like to start a video game is so much mental energy.
Wait till I tell you about my honks and bonks.
I'm excited. But yeah, so I think it's if I just block off this 2 hours is only for video games, then that might be easier for me to actually play them. Mm-hmm. Before, it was easier because we didn't have as much going on because there was a pandemic.
True.
We didn't go out on Saturdays at all. We would just sit at home. And so it's well, of course I'm going to play video games. I have so much free time in blocks. But now it's okay, well, I have 30 minutes before dinner, and then I have 20 minutes after this. And it just doesn't feel... I don't know. Listeners, if you have had similar experiences or you have gotten out of a game rut, I guess is kind of what I'm in. I don't know.
I was just thinking of I was what's the phrase? Gaming rut. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the book podcast I listen to, they talk about book ruts all the time and things like that. So yeah, if you have any advice or ideas on how to get out of a gaming rut, please let me know by emailing us at makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com or commenting on this episode. We would love to hear from you. But yeah, that's all my gaming news and endeavors. Isaac, what about you? Do you have any gaming news? Endeavors?
I have some of the worst news of all time. Okay, there's some backstory for this. All right, so there's this game called Crusader Kings. Well, game series called Crusader Kings. And I was having fun online on the old Twitter the other day when a post came across my eyes, and now I don't remember who made the post, so I can't find this and quote it verbatim and give credit where credit is due. But the post was essentially I'm playing Crusader Kings. The new update is cool. And somebody was like, Crusader Kings, that game has always looked like just a spreadsheet to me. Is it actually good, or is it a meme? And then the original poster was Crusader Kings is a beautiful game about friendships and managing relationships, and it's all about the characters. And then somebody responded was by God, they've made Sims for boys. So naturally, I was devastated by this, by this being pointed out to me. But I decided to play Crusader Kings anyways, and I went to play Crusader Kings, and I found out that it was not installed. No iteration of Crusader Kings was installed on my computer. I don't know how that happened because this is one of my game series. How did it just disappear from my computer? And I'm guessing that every once in a while I get low on space because I'm an old man with small terabytes of hard drives. And so I probably uninstalled it, and my best guess is I uninstalled it to try out Europa Universalis 4, which is another game by the same publisher that's basically the same thing with less focus on the characters, a little less sim-like. Devastating idea. Don't know why I ever did that. I much prefer Crusader Kings. Anyways, I did not actually install Crusader Kings. That was too much of a hefty hurdle to get myself rolling in this, so I am Crusader Kingsless. Otherwise, I also played Horizon Zero Dawn, which I'll give the old honky bonk to, and I should write down news in the future because I'm pretty sure I had some news to share, some announcements, but
Well,
I
we'll
don't
just have
remember what
to
they are.
wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised you're not honking and bonking The Sims for Boys, because just sitting in the other room listening to you play was like, I have honks and bonks. But that's okay. I'll look forward to another episode.
Wait. Oh, okay. Well,
What do you mean,
interesting.
wait?
Well, no, I'm trying to remember a time in which I've played Crusader Kings in the same room as you.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Not in the same room. I could just hear you playing.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll get into that when I do honk and bonk it, when I finally decide to
Or maybe I'm
install and play
conflating it
it.
and you're actually honking and bonking the game I overheard you. I don't know.
Oh.
All right, anyway, it doesn't matter.
Do you have a game to honk and bonk? We've been talking a lot about honk and bonk.
I do. I already told everybody what it would be. It's gonna be Restless Soul.
Wow, whoever could have guessed.
I realize I know the publisher because it's our best friend, Graffiti Games. But the developer is Fuzz Games, Fuz. And Restless Soul is a game where you play as a ghost who wants to make it back to life to finish their unfinished business. And the unfinished business in question is actually held as a secret. Like, it's like, oh, can't wait to know that. So I don't know that yet because I haven't played through the game. I'm actually not super far into it. You have to collect 8 keys, and I think I have 1, but I got 2, but 1 got stolen away from me, so that's a whole nother thing. So I haven't played a ton, but I feel like I've played enough to honk and bonk it. Like, I know the environment. There's not a lot of surprises. So here we go. We're going to jump right in. So first off, first big honk is surprisingly, I love the style of, what would you call it? I would call it design, but I don't think that's what it is in gaming terms. Like the colors and the graphics.
So the graphic design?
Okay, so design.
Yeah. I would say that's fine, yeah.
Okay, I love it.
We use that term in gaming.
So it's 2D pixel art and it's grayscale. And I thought, I was a little worried about the grayscale. I was like, I don't know if I'm actually going to like this. I really, really like it. I think it's really easy on the eyes. I don't know. I think it's clean, but it's still detailed enough, and I think it's great. So it's like, if you're just hung up on coloring your game, just forget about it. Just publish that game, because it's ready to go, I think. So I really, really liked that. I also liked, it is kind of a meme game. Like, it's here for the jokes, okay? It is the most self-aware video game I've ever played.
Even more self-aware than Turnip Boy?
Even more self-aware than Turnip Boy. Now, is Turnip Boy a self-aware game? Absolutely. Does Turnip Boy have a ton of jokes? Yes. But I think Turnip Boy's jokes happen a lot less frequently and are more of a wink-wink versus the whole game.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
If we were talking about books, Gideon the Ninth, which everyone in the world should read, please read it. It's kind of more like a Turnip Boy style of working in some funny memey language versus writing a whole book that's just memes or jokes. I don't want to necessarily say memes, but it's really good. I really like the comedy of it, the complete self-awareness of it, the dialogue style, as far as how they're saying what they're saying and how they interact with each other. And it's just, I mean, the ghost literally does camera takes, so it's womp womp.
Does the Jim Halpert look?
Exactly. So that was a huge honk for me because I love a game that makes me laugh. And then the other honk is that battle is actually hard, which is a honk because I feel like I don't want it to be easy. That's not as fun. I was a little worried the game would be a little too easy just because it is so simple. And the battling is simple, but it's challenging. So it's also a style that I'm not super used to. I think Binding of Isaac had the same style.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, that wasn't the reason I hated it, so thank God for that. But basically, you can like hold down like a constant like firing of shots. It's not. Didn't really tell you what you're shooting, but that's it. And then, but you can move in any direction and shoot in any direction. So I could be walking, forward and shooting behind me, and I'm using both the motion sticks to do this. And that's just a concept I haven't really played a lot of. And it's like a lot, kind of more of a brain exercise and like a dexterity exercise than I'm used to, honestly, in most Switch games that I've played. So that's kind of fun for me as a new style, and it's fun to learn it. So I like that. That's a honk for me.
Nice. So that is commonly referred to in the gaming circles as a twin stick shooter because it's using both sticks and you're shooting.
Oh, okay.
I would
Makes sense.
classify the battle gameplay as, based on what I've seen, this would be a shmup or a shoot 'em up. And
Yeah.
we know I love my ups.
Yeah, I feel like you'd love to play this game. Isaac did watch me play for a while, which does bring me to my bonks. There are very few. I literally wrote like,
Okay.
Is this the perfect game? Maybe, but there are a couple bonks. The first bonk is that a lot of the jokes would go over your head if you are not a game developer.
Oh.
Like, I was so grateful that I had Isaac next to me because he would explain to me if I didn't get why something was funny.
Oh, like the public static library versus the private library?
Right.
That's
Yes.
a little programmer joke for y'all out there. See if you can understand it with just the context that I just gave you.
Now, I will say, that's a good example because, like, I still find it funny that they had a public library and a private library. Like, that's still kind of a joke. But it's funnier if I understand the, like, real joke behind it. And I mean, they even have the game developers in the game. Like, there's a self-insert game developer in the game. And those kinds of things, like, they say some things that I don't understand. And I just enjoy that Isaac laughs at them. Like, that's fun. But, yeah, it does go over my head, so it might be a little bit too jokey in that sense. And then also because it's so reliant on jokes, and dialogue itself, it can get a little bit like, okay, like I'm going through the dialogue. Oh, this is actually a true bonk. So most games have an ability to like fast forward the dialogue, right? Like,
yeah,
it'll kind of come out word by word, and then a lot of games have the choice to press a button, usually A or B, and that will clear it. You also usually always have to press a button to continue on through the dialogue. So once one text box has been spoken, you click a button, usually A on the Switch, to move on to the next text box, correct? Mm-hmm. We're on the same page. So this one, the reason I don't like it is because A is to move on, but B is to fast forward. So I feel like it's like a lot of unnecessary like thumb movement to go through. There's a lot of dialogue to go through, and I have to keep bouncing back and forth between A and B, which, like, not a huge complaint, but it is a little bit like, Animal Crossing, I can press B all day. I kind of
like that. I think I've complained about this before. Yakuza, sometimes I skip dialogue that I didn't mean to. Like, I accidentally press at the exact wrong time.
Okay.
Like, if one word text box ends and then I press the skip button, it'll skip the next text box. And, if they were different buttons, I would never miss that. But then again, Yakuza is a completely different style of game, and the dialogue serves a completely different purpose.
Yeah, but that's true too. I think you read really fast. I don't read that fast, so I think it's less likely that I'll miss dialogue. Because I need it on the screen longer no matter what.
Right.
But I see your issue. That did remind me, though, talking about this, there's a honk I didn't write down that is actually a huge honk, and I need to discuss it. And it is game design related specifically. It tells you when you're done talking to somebody. So let's go back. Let's explore this. When when I first started playing video games, did not talk to any characters. So one of my very first games that was this kind of style, Link's Awakening on the Switch, and I was super stuck. And I go to Isaac and I'm like, I don't know what to do next. I'm so stuck. And he's like, well, did you talk to this person? And I was like, no. He's like, well, did you talk to this person? And I was like, no. He's like, did you talk to anyone? And I was like, not really, no. And he's like, well, you gotta talk to people and they'll tell you what to do. And I was like, what? How would I know? How would I know that? What? It's like, well, that's just how video games work. So obviously over the years, I've learned how to talk to people in video games. And by people, I mean NPCs that will move the game forward.
They're people.
This game, as you approach somebody, they'll have a little speech bubble on top, like with ... So it's like, you should talk to this person. And the speech bubble will stay there. So like you have like a series of dialogue. The dialogue ends. You can now move freely about the world again. But they still have a speech bubble. So you go back. It's different dialogue. You keep talking. You stop talking. Maybe they still have one. Maybe they don't. When the speech bubble goes away, that means they're just going to repeat the same dialogue again. But if there's still a speech bubble, that means there's more new dialogue to explore. And that is game-changing, literally, for me. Because, I don't really talk to NPCs naturally. I have to remind myself to do it. Having the bubble tells me, like, oh, yeah, go talk to them. Also, once I talk to them once, I usually just walk away. This happened a lot when I started playing Elden Ring. Because I'd be like, all right, bye. And then Isaac's like, no. And I'm like, well, how do I know? I'm just supposed to trial and error and have to walk through the same conversation twice, multiple times, just because I'm seeing if anyone has new dialogue? Like, that's so boring. So I just love this. I think it's subtle, but it's perfect. And that's probably the biggest honk, honestly, in this game.
So my brother and I have this meme joke reference to the yellow dot. And it's basically the same thing. There was this platformer game that we played, and the character would have a little yellow dot that would appear above its head when you could jump with it. And jumping was a key part of the platformer. And we were like, this is genius, knowing exactly when and where you can jump. This is a genius little touch. So like our version, or your version of our little yellow dot, is a dialogue icon.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I want every game that it should be legally required that all games where NPCs are necessary to pass the game should be legally required to indicate that I need to talk to this person. But okay, so those are my honks and bonks. Isaac, what are your honks and bonks?
So, I played a game called Horizon Zero Dawn by Guerrilla Games. I got it for free from the I think PlayStation did like a promotion when the new one came out, because there is a second game, and they gave it away for free. So, free game, people. I got it for free. Reviews normally point that out, but I think it's like when they were giving it for free as a pre-review kind of thing. But anyways, it is like an action-adventure game wherein you play as an outcast warrior of a tribe who gets a little technological trinket to fight giant robot dinosaurs.
Okay.
Because it's like this might be a bit of a spoiler, but I think all media shows this. But it's basically a post-apocalyptic society in which automated robots have kind of replaced to some extent nature, and humans are effectively like back in the Stone Age using like spears and bows and arrows, but they like hunt these giant robotic dinosaurs. There's also like normal animals, but like these dinosaurs will just sit there and like they'll dig in one spot as if they were grazing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like industrial machines. I haven't learned the full deep story about it yet, but we'll see when I get there. That's the basic conceit of the game. It's got the stereotypical, I would say, gameplay. You move around, you collect items to craft weapons, and then you use those weapons to fight enemies. Not a lot of massive innovation going on there. I feel like, let me wax philosophical a second.
Uh-huh.
I feel like a lot of like AAA, because I don't know if this is technically a AAA game or not, or if it was considered more indie when it came out. But I feel like these big games, they can't take as many risks and experiment with the gameplay as much, so they tend to go with the tried and true formulas, which in some ways is problematic. And in some ways, it's fine. Sometimes you're just looking for a game that you'll completely understand when you open it up, and just be able to carry on forward with it. But yeah, that's my basic, the lowdown on Horizon Zero Dawn.
Hmm.
I will say my best honk is that there is this tutorial area. There's a lot of tutorials for some reason. I mean, tutorials are fine, but this felt egregious to me. Maybe it's because I'm a gaming expert. But in one of these tutorial areas, you not only eventually get like an on-screen checkpoint tracker that tells you exactly where to go, but the nifty part is you fall down into a cave, you're trapped inside the cave, but as you walk through there are beams of light coming from the ceiling that show you the next place to go. So it's this completely organic, completely natural, like in-game way of the developer saying, "Hey, check this out. Here's a shaft of light. Go towards the shaft of light." And then you don't get lost. And I do think that that went away as soon as they gave you the little technological piece of it, the technological device that just gave you an on-screen go here checkpoint blip. But it was a cool little touch. I liked it. Um,
Nice.
Second honk, crafting is easy. You pause the game and you can craft a million arrows in half of a second. So you don't have to fuss about with finding a safe spot and crafting things and like doing a little animation. And I think just abstracting that all away so that you can just get to the meaty gameplay. That's cool. I like that. In Elden Ring, I remember there's like fights with dragons and stuff where I would run out of arrows and then I would just kind of ride away a little bit and quickly open up the crafting screen and be like, okay, craft, 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 craft. Okay, got my arrows, and then ride back into the fight if I didn't get killed while I was like on the screen without it pausing.
Hmm.
So that's a cool little thing, and it's a very, I would say, good looking game, which
Good.
isn't like super game designy, but oh, actually, I'll work this into the game design. Beautiful looking game, and they are able to use that like graphics fidelity to kind of indicate some gameplay stuff to you. Like you can look at the robot dinosaurs and you can kind of see where the weak points are because they have paid such attention to the graphics and like making it look good and stuff. So like striders will have like a gas canister on their back, and you can use your little technological device. You press a button and it gives you like a little UI that's like, here's the weak point, here's the weak point. Or you can just look at it and be like, oh, there's a canister on the back and it's got a big glowy eye. I wonder which spots are the weak points.
Hmm.
Obviously, you do extra damage when you hit the weak points, like giant enemy crabs work in real life. That is a joke for those old school gamers who go back to like 2006.
2006 isn't that old, is it?
I don't know. I feel like in like the 2000s, like 1980s were old school gamers.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Yikes. Well, so that was 20 years ago. So 2006 is still a little less.
yeah, it's around the 2 decade point. But um yeah, those are my honks. Let's get into the bonks. I played for dang near 45 minutes and I did not get to play much game. There was
Oh
a lot of
no.
cutscenes.
Yes, this was the game. Okay, so
Oh,
I had confused it. I thought you had been playing the King game.
no, 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 no. That game has a lot less cutscenes.
So I do want to say, can I say my experience from the
Okay,
other
yes,
room?
say it.
So I could hear him playing the game, and I literally sent a Discord because that's how we communicate sometimes in the house. And I was like, "Are you watching Ice Age the movie?" And he was like, "No, I'm playing a video game." So that's the context for everyone who's
Yeah.
excited to hear. So continue on.
Yeah. I will say that I did not get to interact with this game for like a solid, it felt like 10 minutes, but it might have only actually been 5. I didn't like actually time it. But like the game loaded up and I didn't even get a start screen to like select new game, continue options, any of that. No, it just rolled immediately into a cutscene upon startup. And then that cutscene went on for some amount of time. And then I was able to press new game. And then I got another cutscene that went on for some time. And then I fell in the cave. And it was a very guided tour where I didn't even get to do like any fun stuff. It was like just movement. It was like walk forward, walk to the beam of light, walk to the next beam of light, walk to the next beam of light. Oh, now you've got an item. Press this and go into cool mode. Oh, listen to the video journal entries of some corpses. Move, move, move. Another cutscene. A little stealth tutorial. Another cutscene. A little combat tutorial. Another cutscene. And it's like I'm trying to play a game here. I don't understand. I'm trying like it should not take me this much time investment to get to like what's going on with the game. And I understand stories are important and cool, but I feel like stories, you can incorporate a story in a way where it complements the gameplay more or it allows the gameplay to happen. Like
Yeah.
there's a difference between movies and video games as like a
Yeah.
medium. And I think that video games should kind of really focus on the aspects of the video game medium that I, hmm,
No, I see what you're saying. So because you think about games that are heavily story, like Life is Strange, right? But
hmm
a lot of Life is Strange, are there cutscenes? Yeah, but a lot of it is you learn through exploring the world. So they let you do things to learn the story, even if it's a little bit of a railroaded, like, well, you have to pick that up.
and
You're
I
still
would even
picking it
say,
up and reading it, right? So I think
yeah,
the difference between a movie and a video game is the active role of the person. Where I sit and watch a movie, I'm playing a video game, even if it's not a lot of playing. I still want to be clicking buttons, like probably at least
exactly.
like once every 15 seconds minimum. I should be clicking a button, right?
Yeah, and Life is Strange does that so well, I think, because even though one could consider like a lot of the game to be a cutscene, but you are still making the dialogue choices like
Right. Yep.
constantly. Like I would actually say very little of the game is actually a cutscene because of how you interact with the game. Like there might be a long period of dialogue, but
But you're
that's
always
still
making
broken
slight
up.
choices, even if it doesn't change it too much. And
Exactly. You're
yeah, now I think
gaining
about it,
information.
the cutscenes, I think there's like a couple in the beginning, and then there's like one at the end of each game. Like, like the finale is like a
Yeah.
cutscene, and that's pretty much it.
Exactly. And then we've got this Horizon Zero Dawn game and it's setting up a whole bunch of stuff, but I feel like it could do a lot less setup and a lot more letting me play the game. I've always kind of subscribed to this game design ethos that within like 2 minutes of the game, you need to have the gameplay hook. You need to show them
Mm-hmm.
the cool part of the gameplay in some way to to get them hooked in.
I mean, I
Um,
think that's true of all things.
Yeah, because books have the thing like the first sentence or the first page
Yeah.
should hook the reader in. It should pull them in. So like in the game that I've been working on, there's like a short like 30-second cutscene, and it gets you into like the actual battle. The battle is going to be instantly won. It's the easiest battle ever, but like that shows you what the gameplay is going to be. It has very little cutscene setup, puts you into a battle, and then it does some more cutscene, and then you get some more battles as like the exposition unfolds.
Hmm.
But I'm hoping that I've done a good job of kind of layering it out to get people hooked into the gameplay and the story at the same time. But
Nice.
Horizon Zero Dawn is not hooking me into the gameplay. I don't I could not honestly tell you right now whether I've got into the real gameplay or not. It's
Oh
it's
no.
silly. The second bonk that I want to say is in one section there was a little horizontal gap, and the tutorial was like, use square to slip through the gap. And then 5 minutes later, there was a vertical gap, and the game was like, use triangle to slip through the gap. And I'm like, why would I not use the same button to slip through both gaps? Why is there two buttons? Why is there two slip through gap buttons? Depending on whether it's horizontal or vertical. Just make that one button. Come on. And that's like a tiny bonk, but like
no, but it's real because I can see me really hating that, especially because, again, controller is not my strong suit. So I try to get the hang and the vibe of a game. If there's like a situation, like it's not super frustrating if I'm just exploring, but if I'm being chased by a mountain lion and I have to get through this gap and I keep pressing the wrong one and I'm not, like, I can see that being very stressful.
Unless like that is the point of that sequence, because they have quick time event sequences in some video games where you'll be running through, but like they will have a button appear on, I think Life is Strange actually had these, but it'll be like press the circle button and then you have a limited amount of time to do it for your character to like proceed, and then press the triangle button, but it's like completely separated from the rest of gameplay. Like these buttons are not linked to what they would normally do. Like they exist purely as like a, can you register what you're seeing and then press the correct button in the limited amount of time that we give you, like dexterity challenge.
Like the fishing game mini game in Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Horizon Zero Dawn. I would recommend the game to you, but I don't think I've played it yet. Wow, that is harsh. That is so harsh for me to have said, but
wow,
kind of true.
Sometimes we gotta be harsh. People are here for a reality, not for being coddled.
Exactly. And right? I hope any potential game developers, game designers that are listening to this look back at their own game and go, oh no, we also have 75 minutes of cutscenes before the player is allowed to press a single button. Let's change that. Let's give them one button push right at the beginning. Please do that. Please let me push the button. Hey, Claire, do you have a game that you'd like to pitch to me for my brain to process? And before you answer this, I also want you to consider this game idea. How many minutes of cutscenes does it have at the very beginning?
At the beginning, not very many. No.
Oh, okay, good.
I think at the end, it's going to be the biggest cutscene. So here we go. I'm very excited. I have props. So yeah, if you watch on YouTube, secret YouTube content, this game, it's called Limo, and it's based on this vinyl record of the same name.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you the story of Limo. I got this record at a used record store for $3. It's from 1977, and it is a Warner Brothers Records promo album. So basically, they sent these out to places that buy records, like, I don't know, stores and stuff to like play or like radio stations, right? So it's like a demo of like all the songs from like artists from 1977 that were represented by WB. So you could like listen to this and be like, oh yeah, I want to order some Fleetwood Mac, right?
Okay.
So it's really good.
So it's a demo album called Limo, or one of the songs is called?
No, okay. It's a demo album called Limo.
Demo albums have names.
This one does.
Okay.
And it also has a very cool description, which I am going to now read. So welcome to story time. Look, it's him. It's them. No, it's a decoy. It's Limo. Sorry, I just need to take a moment.
Okay.
That was all in italics, by the way.
Oh.
People have been riding in limousines since before they had motors. In the Roaring 20s, people of means owned their own limousines with full-time personal chauffeurs. The Depression put a stop to that. And since post-Depression cars were easier to drive, even rich folk have done most of their own driving ever since.
Okay, yeah.
So we're getting into the history of limousines, right?
Good. This is what we needed.
Yep. And then came rock and roll. It was the Beatles who made the limousine a limo. I don't know if that's true. I should double check that, but apparently the Beatles coined limo.
Okay.
Months before I ever heard the Beatles' music, I recall reading a news story about the skill and courage of their limo drivers, saving them every evening from certain dismemberment at the hands of the Beatlemaniac hordes. You're starting to see the video game in this, I hope.
Oh, yeah. Yup.
All right, I'm going to skip a little bit because it's literally like 10 paragraphs.
Yeah, so I am going to say that you've already provided a lot of cutscene, very little gameplay.
Hey, this is good content.
I know.
All right, so I'm skipping a couple. Many of the people on this sampler have spent a lot of time in limos. There were probably even songs on this album which were conceived in limos. Could be.
I don't want to think about things being conceived in limos, to be honest.
There are some people on this album, however, who still have to ride in taxis or buses, or worse, they're on the road. People whose music is just as fine as that of their more fortunate compatriots. It just isn't played on the radio as much. Warner Brothers Records hopes that you'll buy some of their albums and give them a chance at some of that backseat legroom before the oil shortage puts us all back on tricycles.
The oil shortage? In 1977? They've been talking about the oil shortage since 1977? Okay. Cool.
Well, I think they had, there was a big one around then.
Oh, okay. A specific super shortage and not like the global, like, hey, this is a finite, non-renewable resource.
I mean, they have been talking about the climate crisis for quite a while, so.
Okay, cool.
But I think this was a specific, because my mom told me about it. So anyways, that's Limo. So and as you can see, it's a very, it's a lot. It's 2 vinyl records in there. It's got a lot of great stuff in there. So I was like, I'm going to make Limo the game. And here's how it works. You are the limo driver. So you're in like the driver's seat. There's a game, I was trying to look up gameplay that's similar to what I'm imagining, and there's a game called City Car Driving, or City Car Driver. Kind of looks like that. People can use a wheel, which I think is fun, so maybe that's going to be part of it.
Yes.
And the idea is you have to navigate the city streets. The hordes of fans around you, right? And you have to pick up the correct people to make the best playlist, or set list, for the club. So you have a set, you have to deliver these artists to the club by a certain time, and they're all waiting on the side of the road, and you can see like brief profiles about them, and you have to pick the right one. So maybe this one's really famous, but if you pick like this up and comer, they could shock everybody and you'll get even more points. And so based on like small profiles and maybe little samples of their music, you have to quickly decide, because it's a timed game, like who's coming in the limo tonight.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a gameplay feature where some artists are feuding with other artists? So if you try to put them on the same like set list, they'll fight in the recording studio and you'll lose points.
I like that, and yes.
Good.
But also, it wouldn't be the recording studio because it's a live like venue.
Oh,
like,
okay. So they would fight in the club. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Or in the limo even. Maybe it would like slow you down because you have to kick somebody out of the limo.
Oh.
I don't know. But yeah, so that's the game. So yeah, I know that was a big lift, but I did want to read some of the excerpt of Limo because it is one of my favorite vinyl records that I have in my collection. Yeah. And I also wanted to say, so the song In the Mood, you know that song? It's like...
That's when you conceive songs in a limo.
Right? Like we've heard this
Yes,
song.
okay, yeah.
There's one on this album that's just Chicken singing that.
Folks, this is a beautiful vinyl record.
So I wanted there to be like a special chicken. Like if you find the chicken, you just win that round of the game.
Incredible.
Like that's like the chicken is like the golden celebrity. Like if you get the chicken in the limo, you win the game.
Incredible.
But it's very hard. So it's like, are you going to spend your time trying to find that chicken, or are you going to actually create a playlist?
Wow.
Anyway, so that's Limo, the game.
I like it. I like it a lot. It's got sort of Crazy Taxi vibes, but with a little bit more meta game or like meta considerations. You're not just picking up individual customers. It also has that submarine game from the
Mm.
itch.io bundle
Mm-hmm.
vibes.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Only
yeah.
you don't just pick up one customer at once. You have to think about multiple customers in a row.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. And as far as like vibey vibes, it's obviously the groovy 70s,
Yeah.
because this was from 1977, so we're going to stick with that.
When the
All the
limos were
NPCs
most
are wearing
popular because of the
bell
Beatles.
bottoms. Right. Sure. That's confirmed now from this record sleeve. All right. Well, Isaac, I have a game. What about you? Do you have a game
I
to
do
pitch
have a
me?
game. It's called Crossing the Rubixon because
Ooh.
it's Rubik's Cube themed. And crossing the Rubicon is a phrase referring to Julius Caesar when he crossed the Rubicon to conquer Gaul. So it's like, it means when you're pushed past the tipping point, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is irrelevant to the game, but I just wanted to explain that I wasn't just putting random words down. So, yes, this is a Rubik's Cube based puzzle roguelike game.
Roguelike?
No,
No.
roguelite.
No. I don't know what I don't like. Wait, did you know we have sounds we can use?
We have a soundboard.
Yeah, so I wanted to see if there's like wah wah wah, but I don't see any.
We'll have to investigate that later, and if we can
Yeah.
hook it up to my my soundboard, I have a
Oh.
soundboard device that I've been
Yes.
wanting to incorporate. I want to be the soundboarder, but anyways, okay, later. Um,
Later.
Crossing the Rubicon. It is a Rubik's Cube based puzzle roguelike game, which so every level is going to have your character. It's going to have an exit point. It is going to shuffle the Rubik's Cube
Mhm.
and in a random way, and then your goal is going to be to get to the exit point. So every turn, so it's turn based. Each turn you can rotate so I don't know Rubik's Cube terminology, so if I'm wrong, don't at me. I'm just gonna say terms. You can rotate like a layer, because I don't know, it wouldn't be a row or a column, it would just be a layer that the player is not on. So the player being in a location stops you from like rotating at 2 points. So if he's in like the middle of it, you could only rotate the edges. Um, or you can make a move, but you can only move on certain colors of tiles. So wherever you start, like if you start on like the red tile, you can only move to other red tiles. And so the exit will always be on another red tile. So your goal is to make pathways that you can move through. There will also be enemies that each time you turn, after you turn, or after you move, the enemies will then also get a movement. If you move into an enemy, you'll attack it. If an enemy moves into you, it will attack you. Your goal is to make it to the exit on each cube alive in as few moves as possible. And I'm thinking there could be different challenge modes because there's different kinds of Rubik's cubes. So you could
Mhm.
have like the normal 3 by 3 by 3 cube, the normal,
Mhm. Mhm.
9
Mhm.
on each face, or you
Yep.
can have the larger or smaller ones to decrease the difficulty. You can have the triangle, octagon things, the pyramid shaped ones, all kinds of interesting variations on just the shape of the terrain that you're on.
Yep.
In addition to having different enemy types that have different, values, etc. So yeah, that's crossing the Rubicon.
Wow.
That's
So
my
my
little.
first thought. So Isaac he's DMing a D&D campaign for us, and he made a room challenge that included a lot of shifting things, and had to be reminded that he's not very good at doing that in his head. So I'm very surprised by this game, that this is like a lot of mental transformation going on, and
Which I'm not
that's
good at.
no. So you definitely have to outsource, I think, this game. So
Yes. Yep. I am not a Rubik's master, so I'll leave it to other people to actually play it. I'll just make it and laugh deviously as people realize how dumb this all is.
So, yeah. Alrighty. Nice, nice, nice. Well, that brings us to what I always say, and is the honest truth, is my favorite part of the show. It's great. It's here. It's limo. No, it's not. It is the rapid fire round. Pow, 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 pow. So, for the rapid fire round, I'm going to generate 3 random words. We have not seen these words before. They are only here with us now. Isaac will set a timer for 5 minutes, and we have those 5 minutes to come up with a game idea based on those 3 words. We have to use all 3, but we can and will stretch their definitions, and we have to name the game. Are you ready for our first 3 words?
I am.
Good, because they're happening.
Good.
Oh, this could be fun. All right, fight.
Fight.
Ceremony.
Okay.
And seat.
Fight, ceremony, seat.
So yeah, I have an immediate, which I'm sure you do too, but
yeah. Throw it out there. Normally I jump on these, but I'm giving this to you.
It's a wedding, but you have to battle for a seat to be there.
Not what I was thinking of.
No,
I went a lot more basic with it. I am gonna throw my idea in the trash.
Oh no!
And shift entire focus onto yours because it is a much better concept. Okay, so it's like a battle royale.
Oh, well, I kind of like that. What I was first going to say is it's going to be more like a Street Fighter style where like you have to battle different wedding attendees to get a seat.
Okay.
But I do like battle royale style as well, although I guess killing everyone at a wedding wouldn't necessarily make sense.
Well, you don't have to. Well, first of all, it's a wedding, so I hope nobody's dying. You just have to beat them up. But you don't beat everyone up. Instead of getting the chicken dinner, which is first place, all you're fighting for is a seat, and there's a number of seats, right? So you just have to beat up enough people to make it to a seat.
Okay, yeah. So here's the conceit. So everybody conceit. Anyway,
wow.
so there can only be 30 people at the ceremony because there's only 30 chairs.
Mm-hmm.
But they've invited 200 people to battle it out.
Oh, jeez.
Before the ceremony. So you have to win one of those coveted spots to be able to witness the wedding.
Okay. So I'm going to throw something out there. You can't just like run as fast as you can and sit down in a seat. You have to not only be able to sit in a seat, but people can tear you out of the seat if they're still like active. So you do actually have to fight people. You can't just like speedily or sneakily get your way to the seat.
I didn't think you'd actually end up at the seat. I thought you'd just battle and then the last 30 people standing would go sit down.
Oh, I mean, that's another way to do it.
Because otherwise, like, I guess the having a seat means it would like be more chaotic, like if you're actually going for the seat. I thought they'd be like in a pen, like duking it out.
Okay. If the being able to sit down and like pull people out of the seat or get pulled out of the seat yourself doesn't add anything to the gameplay, we strip it out. And it doesn't sound like it adds anything.
I feel like it makes it more chaotic in a good way. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to keep that in. Another thing that I think it should have is that if every seat is filled for a certain amount of time, it ends. So,
I like that.
If everybody sits down and you are unable to get to somebody to like drag them out of the seat, you can lose, even though you're still like technically active.
I like
that. And then I believe this should be a top-down brawler. Now here's the little gameplay thing that I think is nice. You have 2 input buttons, and each one is connected to a different fist. So okay. Let's say Z and X. So Z does the left hook, and X does the right hook. So you can sit there and walk up to a guy and just be like ZX, 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 and you just and you just fight people until they pass out, and you can sit in a chair. Also, multiplayer.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like this game would have to be multiplayer. Otherwise, you would play it once.
I
If it
mean,
was
no,
like a
because it would
quick
always
flash
be a
game.
different battle.
True. The table arrangements being different.
Well, no, you're sitting for the ceremony, so it'd just be like an aisle. But I mean, it's just
Oh.
like any game, like the first time I might not win. I'd probably play until I at least won.
Fair.
The reason is I always want there to be at least a single player mode because I'm an only child. This game has to pass the only child test.
Okay. Do we
All
have a
games.
name for this game?
I do, and it's +1.
Okay, with 33 seconds left, +1, the Wedding Battle Royale Battling Game.
Hell yeah.
Nailed it.
All right.
Round 2.
Are
Let's
you
get
ready
those
for
beautiful words.
Alrighty. Our next 3 words are dictionary.
Okay.
Difference.
Dictionary difference, 2 Ds.
Stage.
Ooh, broke the combo.
Ooh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Dictionary difference stage. Spelling bee the game?
Okay. Yeah. No, it has to be that. It can only be that.
And all it is a narrator says a word, and then you have to type it as fast as possible and
Spell it correctly.
spell it correctly.
And as the rounds keep going, the words get harder and the time gets faster.
Exactly.
So it's almost a learn 'em up. It's very close because you could learn both spelling and typing.
So this is Learn 'em Up Kids, the big spelling stage.
Yes, I love it. Learn 'em up, kids, the big spelling stage. And we did it. I think that's the fastest we've ever done a game.
That's 4 minutes and 10 seconds left on the timer. We did it in 50. We did it in 50 seconds.
I think that's actually a record, and we should write that down so that we can
try to beat it.
Not soon, but so we know if we do beat it.
Okay. All right. 50 seconds. All
right. Because
that's
hard. I feel like that's going to be a tough one to beat. But Learn 'em up, kids. What was it called again? Learn 'em up.
Learn 'em up, kids. The big spelling stage.
Yeah. Learn 'em up, kids. The big spelling stage. All right. Well, I guess we're ready for our final 3 words.
1 second.
Oh no! What are you doing?
I was just typing. I was typing the record. All right,
okay,
I'm ready.
Okay,
I got the timer on the go.
Valley.
Okay.
Market.
Okay.
Passion.
Valley, market, passion. This
takes place in a limo. No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say, I mean, this game is Stardew Valley. This is a game where you are a farmer and you marry someone.
But we can't make the same game that already exists.
That's true.
I also have never played Stardew Valley, but I do know I've seen enough about it.
Yeah. It's just funny that like all the words just immediately fell into place to describe an existing game.
I mean, look, when you hear Valley and you think video game, where does your mind go?
Stardew Valley.
Exactly.
Oh, actually, my first thought was honestly Harvest Moon.
What if we call it? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say Harvest Moon is like, as far as I know, like the first farm management sim game that really got out there. So like Stardew Valley, heavily inspired by it. It's the same basic gameplay.
Farmville. Everyone remember Farmville?
Oh, jeez.
Only millennials know. Am I right? Anyway, no. I was like, what would it be? It would be like Cloud, Dry Climate Valley.
Okay.
What's the opposite of a star? A cloud.
Oh.
What's the opposite of dew? Dry.
Okay. Well. All right. Let's come up with some unique gameplay features. Are we sticking with the farming sim?
So it's Valley. What was the second word?
Valley, market, passion.
Yeah, I mean it kind of has to be, right?
It could be that, or it could be like any kind of craftsmanship thing, as long as you sell things at the market.
So let's say it's like a craft fair, because these are actually pretty prestigious. So you get to pick when you load the game, like what kind of crafter you are.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be farming. You could be like you could do farming. You could make jams. You could be a bread baker. You could make earrings. You know, like. This
is going to be a huge game. It's every crafting simulator, like at once.
Think about The Sims. Like in The Sims, you can have any job.
That's
There's
true,
like
but
so many jobs.
jobs are kind of abstracted to a point where isn't it like a timer that ticks?
So it is in Sims 4. They've added, which I still have yet to explore, but where you can actually go to work.
Oh.
And like
Ooh.
do stuff at work, like, which is why I made a detective, because I'm like, I get to solve mysteries at work. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Yeah, there's only a few jobs you can do that for though. But I'm saying, like, this isn't unheard of. It doesn't have to be like wildly different.
Okay. All right.
Like, okay, also I'd say in The Sims, like, you can buy crafting benches. This is only in Sims 2. I don't know if they have this in Sims 4. Where basically you can like be a robotics guy and you just have a crafting bench and you build robots, and it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, so all right, you go into the valley, you find resources with which to craft, and depending on which crafter type you are, you have different resources you're looking for. You may have to trade with the other locals who have different skill sets. So if you are a leather crafter and you find wood, you may have to trade with the woodsman to get cowhide, which he has for some reason, which you then turn into leather crafts. And then you sell it at the market, and whatever it is your passion. And this game is called
Maybe we should come up with like a cutesy market, like Stardew Market, but it wouldn't be Stardew. But you know, like,
okay.
you see where I'm going.
Yes. Who can we do a fill in the blank, like a TBD name, like we
No,
know the
absolutely not.
vibe? Well,
No,
because we don't know enough, we would have to sit here and come up with characters and like
no,
the city in
no.
order to
Just say
come up
like
with a cute
Rose
name.
Petal Market. Like,
Okay,
no.
Rose Petal Market, the crafting simulator management game with 26 seconds left.
Okay.
Nailed it.
Yes. No. We absolutely cannot just leave a fill in the blank. That's no. That's cheating. That's absolutely against the rules. The very few rules we have. That's a no.
All right. Well,
All right.
that was the rapid fire round.
That was our rapid fire round, and that's the end of this episode. We want to plug our socials. So we are on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Make That Game Pod. We are on YouTube. Search Make That Game channel. And we're working towards 100 subscribers so that we can make our own URL.
So please like and subscribe.
Yes, please like and subscribe there. You can also find us on Twitch, twitch.tv/makethatgame. We will be live streaming in the future, so if you follow us now, you'll get alerted about that. And you can always email us at makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com. If you have any games you want to suggest to us, if you have honks and bonks, if you have 3 words you want to make, or if you have any ideas based on our 3 words that we didn't come up with, we'd love to hear them.
What we would not like to hear, though, is pitches for your NFT or crypto project. Do not email us those scams.
Yes, please don't scam us. That'd be great. And then, you know, if you like this podcast, we'd love to get a review on iTunes. Woo! Beautiful things there. All right. And if you heard a game today that you just think needs to exist in this world, I encourage you to go out there and make that
game.